Welcome to another edition of NYCFC Meets. I'm Ian Joy. Let's start the meeting and see if our next guest is ready. Gary Mackay-Steven, thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, how are you doing during this difficult time?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. No, I'm fine. I'm good. It's obviously different times we're living in at the moment. It's a bit crazy what's going on. But no, I'm doing perfect. I'm just chilling, staying home and doing home workouts and stuff, trying to keep myself ticking over. But no, it's just taking it day by day, aren't we? As everyone is. It's a lot different than it was. But no, thankfully I'm healthy, so I can't complain.
How difficult is that then when you're going through these workouts? I've asked a couple of the boys about that already. Everybody together, trying to stay healthy. How close are you to full fitness? Is it still waiting for you to get back on the field to find that?
We're obviously not going to be full fitness. It's anytime you have a little break, and certainly regards to match fitness, we'll be a little bit off that. That only comes with playing games and certainly training, your sharpness and stuff. But no, the club have been great with us. You say setting up these Zoom meetings and workouts we have to do, and keeping it kind of our week quite structured. So Monday to Friday we'll have some sort of workout every day. And it's tough. We're doing all sorts. They're being creative. Like, we've had days where we're doing kickboxing. There's days where we've been doing yoga and certain runs and stuff like this. So it's been tough. It's not easy. So they've been great and keeping us active and putting us through our paces. But it's certainly a lot different than being at the training ground. Certainly playing games. But no, we're definitely they've not allowed us to be slacking off, that's for sure.
That's a good thing to know for everybody out there who's waiting for the soccer action to return. Let's get into it, guys. I mean, I got to go back through your career. You've had an amazing career, and it all sort of began at Liverpool. I mean, how did that happen, and what kind of an experience was that like for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. Growing up in Scotland, I got moved to Liverpool with playing for my national team, playing for Scotland in under, I think, under 17, sorry, European kind of tournament over in Germany. We played a few games against Germany and different clubs, and there's obviously at these type of tournaments there are scouts and stuff, and got asked to go down to Liverpool for a trial for a week or a couple of weeks, and done that, and that's how that came about, and ended up moving to Liverpool. And unbelievable experience. It was I had a year in under 18s to start with because I was young, and then moved up to the reserves, which it was at that time, which it was reserves and first team training at a separate facility. And yeah, you'd been in around guys, world-class players at such a young age, and was great to see, great experience, and great learning. And yeah, it was great looking back.
Which players were sort of coming through the ranks at that time with you guys then? Was there anyone in particular that hung around the first team for a while?
There was a few that hung around the first team. In my age group, there was the likes of no one that's at Liverpool now, but there's a lot of players. Martin Kelly, for instance, a defender for Crystal Palace. Yeah. Jay Spearin who was a captain of our reserve team. He played a lot of times for the first team and went on to Bolton and different clubs. So I could go through a lot of players and who've had a lot of good careers in different clubs that maybe had a handful of first team experience and stuff. But no, it was we had a really good reserve team. We done well in like the Youth Cup, which it was back then, and even spending some training sessions with the first team at the time. It was brilliant to be in and around such a big club, and learning so much every day.
You then went on and really made a big name for yourself, and you caught my attention when you were playing in the Scottish Premiership. And for me, I caught obviously what you were doing, a little glimpse at Aberdeen, of course, finally, but you went through Dundee United and then Celtic. And I mean, which place did you enjoy most when you were playing in Scotland? It must have been nice for you to be back up north, playing in the top flight, but you went through 3 different clubs there. Did you have an enjoyable experience in one particular club?
I would say I could name moments in each of the clubs that was particularly pleasing. I mean, I think any footballer has highs and lows throughout their career. But no, I started up Dundee United and amazing time there. We had a great group of young players coming through and all got on as well on the park, but also off the park. So that was a great time. Moved to Celtic, a massive club, and had a lot of highs. And my first home debut was against Inter Milan in a packed out Celtic Park, and then the following week at the San Siro. So you had so many highs, and finally at Aberdeen, who, another great changing room, but we had shared great moments on the pitch, in the cups and in the league. And yeah, it's hard to pick, certain moments, but I could, 3 certainly clubs that I think highly of, and to this day will look out for the results because I have fond memories of each place.
I mean, it's an amazing achievement for you, obviously making a debut against Inter Milan and then going to the San Siro to play against them. But you got a reputation when you were at Aberdeen of being a bit of a showboater, and in a good way. You were a man who produced a bit of magic with the ball, and I've said it many times throughout our broadcast since you've been out in New York. But at Aberdeen, again, you got that reputation, and it's almost as if every week people were tuning in to whether it be Soccer AM on the mornings or if it would be the highlight show on Match of the Day to see you produce skills. I mean, did you go into games coming up with these skills in practice and then thinking, I'm going to put this into a game? I mean, some of the stuff you did was ridiculous.
No, I never thought, I'm going to try a certain trick each before a game or that. It's just, I think for me, certainly, I feel when you feel fit and you're had a run of games, your sharpness and you're at peak fitness and you're feeling good in the pitch, that's when you can showcase the best version of yourself, if you like. And certainly for me, that's key to my game. Just when I'm feeling fit, you've had a few 90 minutes under your belts, and your fitness is like where you want it to be. And obviously, as a winger, sharpness is a big thing as well once you get through games. So just when you're at that stage, I think I'm naturally always been a winger, like to take on my man, like to dribble. Obviously, I looked up to skillful players more when I was a young boy and liked, that aspect of entertaining, and certainly what caught my eye, skillful players. And there's certain times where, certain things have come off for me and it's been nice. But as I say, no, planning's never been, you work on it obviously on the training ground, and in your own time you always have a ball and try new things, but on match day when it comes, it's just in the moment. Nothing's ever planned. It's just what comes off and how you're feeling. But hopefully can have many more moments to come.
Well, it was great to see. I mean, there was a lot of great skill that you produced there, and you certainly gave a lot of people a lot of fun watching you play. And after over 200 games in Scotland, the rumour mill started to go, and people were listening here in Major League Soccer that you were coming over, but it seemed to have taken a while for that move to actually happen. How did you first know about the news that you were maybe getting that interest from NYCFC, and why did it take so long for the move to come off?
Yeah, I first heard back in January last year. Obviously, back home, the January transfer window. I had 6 months left to run on my deal at Aberdeen, and there was talk. I remember hearing in January of New York, and obviously at that time we were still in a good position in the league, and we were still in the major cup competition, the Scottish Cup. We were doing well in that. So as much as it interested me and was intriguing, it was the club certainly at the time let me know, and I wanted as well, wanted to be part of a very successful season and finish with a trophy and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was more the case of the interest came, but the club were determined to keep hold at least to the summer to when we were involved in all these competitions and stuff. So it was kind of not a decision I had to make back in January. I heard of interest, but it wasn't until the summer that there was more and bids and stuff like that, and it became more real then.
So how eventually did you come to the decision? I mean, what was it about Major League Soccer and New York City Football Club that enticed you to come over to the US? Because you must have had a number of opportunities to go elsewhere.
Yeah, a number of reasons. Obviously, having heard the interest in January, you're not thinking about it when it doesn't happen, but you're always keeping a keen eye on everything and wanting to know a little bit more about every place, every club. And certainly back home, I know now the MLS is huge back home. It's on the telly every weekend. So you're hearing a lot. There's a lot more interest. It's shown a lot more, if you like, on the telly back home, or that Sky Sports or whatever. So I was taking note of the teams, certainly New York, having been a sister club of Manchester City. I knew they'd had a lot of top players. They like to play football the right way, building from the back and stuff, and it's pleasing on the eye, and great managers as well. So there was a lot of interest, and I've got a good friend in Johnny Russell who plays over here, and who's done so well. And I was always been close ever since we first played back in Dundee United back a lot of years ago in Scotland together. So ever since we played together, we've stayed in touch. We're and meet up whenever the chance allows. So I phoned him and asked him what how he enjoys it over in the States, and stuff about the league and stuff. And he was a big part of just speaking so highly on everything, and how much he enjoys the football, the standard of the football, just the experience of playing in different cities and seeing the whole of the country, if you like, as well. So there was a lot of aspects that appealed to me, and certainly coming over, I know I made the right decision.
Well, I, for one, am delighted you made that move. And of course, I made my move to come say hello to you when you were first down there on the field. And it was important to me to welcome you in the right way, in a New York way. But it's been a difficult transition, and it's not easy for any player who comes out of a European season. You've just played a grueling season. You then go into the middle of a Major League Soccer season. Was that difficult for you, that transition? You're going straight into the deep end with everybody 100% fit, 100% healthy, and halfway through their season over here in MLS.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, I underestimated how hard it would be. I'll admit I've definitely struggled for a while to start with, just for a number of reasons. The biggest one being, like you say, we'd finished a season. I'd had, I think it was 2 months break, obviously doing bits of training in the latter part, but having to come over to New York in the July, and it was, like you say, everyone being the middle of their season, and I'm trying to get fit, and with the New York heat as well, which was a new thing I had never been used to. So I definitely was trying to get fitness, working hard and training that, but I must admit I was chasing shadows for a lot of times to start with in the training sessions, and trying to get fitness and coming on in games, because normally in a pre-season you'd get fit, you'd do runs, but you'd also play a lot of pre-season games and slowly build up your minutes. But in competitive games, important games where you're trying to as well make an impression, it was tough, and it was. I loved it, but it was a struggle. But the boys, and like you say, the welcome I got from everyone, from yourself, from the whole team and the squad, and the supporters as well, amazing. It's just you wanted to show your best self on the pitch, which I felt towards the end. It was a few months. You felt good physically, but the season was just slowly coming to its climax. So it was tough, but I wouldn't change it in the fact that it was great coming over, and really my first away trip was I came over and I could train, but I couldn't get registered for a few weeks, but I still traveled. So I was travel with the team to Orlando, and even just watching in the stands, the boys it was so hot. It was similar temperatures to New York in July, but the humidity, I had to do a training session with the physio, I think the day off the game before, and I remember just the runs he was giving me, I just couldn't do it on the turf was too, like my feet were blistering. I just wasn't used to so many different aspects of the American football and travel, but it was great, but it was tough. It takes a little bit to get into the swing of things, but the boys would be great, and the training, certainly in our squad, such a high standard of player, and it's amazing to be part of it.
So then it's fair to say, after that difficult start and what you've just mentioned there, that the New York City fans have not seen the best of you.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't stress that enough. I know myself, I was really excited for, having a great pre-season, feeling fit and starting the season, and certainly getting back to Yankee Stadium and playing, and, just like you say, going back to my style of play and taking players on and getting supporters off their seat with skills and stuff. That's what I feel, ready to showcase, and can't wait till that moment comes. So it's bittersweet that, we had a great pre-season, and then we've just, this thing has happened that's putting football in the back burner, and rightfully so. Hopefully everyone can get through this safely and happily, and, we can go back to normality soon and everything. But no, I'm certainly just excited for what the future holds here, definitely.
Well, I can tell you from my experience, when I first came over to Major League Soccer, I was playing in Germany at the time, and I actually left midway through the German season, and of course everybody was very unhappy because we were also making a push for the Bundesliga. And I did the right thing, because I came over, did a full pre-season, then went straight into the season, and I felt great. And I've recognized so many players have made that mistake where they've come over in the middle of the summer, and trying to get used to Major League Soccer is almost impossible. The tempo, the energy, the weather, the travel, the climate, the humidity, it's very, very difficult to do. So you're not the only player. So many people have actually struggled trying to make that transition. But definitely the second year is where people should get really excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing the best of you. I've talked a lot about you, and of course my broadcast partner Joe Tollison. I've pushed him and I said, just you wait, just give him some time. And I know there's a lot more exciting things to come from you. Now, you mentioned it there a moment ago. New York is going through a lot right now. It's been very difficult, and also for you, just obviously arrived in New York, you've recognized people are stuck in their apartments. They want some sort of positivity. So thank you so much for doing this. But do you personally have a message for those supporters and fans and people of New York who are out there watching?
Yeah, just can't stress enough that just look out for each other, stay happy and positive and as healthy as can be. It's difficult right now with these times. Like you say, we're stuck indoors and having to take all the measures, but it's for a reason. So I just hope everyone is being as healthy as they can and positive as they can. And yeah, can't wait to see everyone when the time allows to hopefully be back at our own stadium, and the wonderful fans here. They're so welcoming and positive and happy, and they bring a great energy. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But just look out for each other, and we'll get through it together.
Gary, thank you so much for the time, man. Thanks for everything. We look forward to seeing you back at Yankee Stadium.
Top man, Ian. Thank you. Me too.